Everybody knows this is not a passive podcast. It's a podcast for action takers.
Our clients are like Batman. We are Alfred, right? We're the advisor. The spotlight, though, is on the client and their company. Every single day, there's over 137,000 new businesses that are established, and they have one thing in common, all of them. It's marketing, right?
And so the riches are in the niches.
Name me any other business model that you become profitable from your very first client. There is none. As a digital marketing agency, are actually a lot more in demand during a recession or during tough times than you may think. So this is literally the best absolute time to kind of get that momentum on your side so you can really hit that, next level.
Pay attention to today's guest. We've got our good friend Zarar Ami. At just 19, he made his first $1 million. By age 23, he had built not one, not two, not three, but 6 offices with 120 employees, some of whom were actually older than him, too, at the time. So before that, he actually faced incredible adversity, including almost $1 million in debt. He was able to fight through that and create an 8-figure empire. He has been fortunate to serve over 10,000 entrepreneurs and help them to launch a profitable online business. Zarar's $1 million agency system has generated $48 million in revenue for his clients, all while allowing them to achieve financial freedom without burning out. So we are super excited to welcome Zarar. Excited to have you. How you doing?
What a introduction. Thank you very much. I'm doing amazing. I'm actually here in Medellin, Colombia. Just got here.
Oh, do you?
A little traveling thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a cool place, and a lot been happening in Colombia even today, I think. So I'm glad you're having a good time there. I've got some friends from the country, and it is a beautiful country with wonderful people. So, clearly you're an entrepreneur who travels the globe. You impact entrepreneurs everywhere. But I'm curious about your backgrounds, or what was it like growing up? Were there some key events that led you down the path of entrepreneurship? Did you go conventional routes, go to college, work for big corporation, or were you always meant to be entrepreneurial? What was your path?
Yeah, so it kind of goes back to when I was about 18 years old, about 17, 18 years old. And my dad used to work for Verizon. He was doing, he had a really good career. He was a software engineer there, doing about $200K a year. Considered pretty good status for the community that we were in, right? And he actually got me an internship at Verizon for $8,000 for 3 months. So it was like about $24,000, right? And I actually declined that because I was just in a crazy, I was just looking into all the different opportunities and all the things that I could potentially do to kind of have my own thing. And I declined that offer, and I realized that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I guess that's kind of where it all started for me.
That's incredible. And you started at a very young age. And, I'm a father of 5. I've got my 15-year-old wants to become an entrepreneur. He's been doing small businesses here and there. I'm curious, what were some of the keys? Because I can tell at a young age you had developed some different skill sets. What were some of the skill sets and ways that you were able to develop those at such a young age to start your first company at age 19? Because not everybody can do that.
Yeah, I know that's a very good question. So there's a lot of things that kind of go into it, right? Number one is kind of like the mindset behind that. Being a business owner is a little bit different than being like a 9-to-5 full-time employee, right? The mindset of I need to earn my own money versus I will be getting a paycheck every single 2 weeks. That's number one is we need to first address that and say, all right, now we are in control and in charge of our own destiny, right? So after the mindset, it's really about learning what are the core skill sets that are going to get you some of the success that you want to have, right? So for us, it's we have a service-based online business that we got a lot of success in. And in that specifically, it was really honing into a very specific niche, right? A niche that we resonate with, that our clients resonate with. And from there, we were able to craft an offer, right? And learning offer creation. And then the next skill set was marketing. How do we generate leads? How do we generate demand, right? Once the demand is there, then we started to learn how to close that demand and convert them into high-paying clients. And then, of course, how to fulfill clients, retain them, and ascend them into the next level thing. So that's how we really, that was our core skill sets over years and years that it took us. But if I was to sum it all up, that's kind of the journey of all the skill sets that we have.
Incredible. So the foundation of it is understanding what a great offer looks like. And there's certainly been, some books out there, some great programs. So for you, as you unpack what makes an offer truly valuable, irresistible, and one that we'll call as a blue ocean strategy. We talk about this often on the podcast that we're looking for blue ocean strategies, not a commodity that's the exact same as what everybody else has, where it's a race to the bottom, but something unique. So, what were your keys to creating an offer that was irresistible? And what are they today?
Yeah, that's a great point. So it really kind of depends. You need to really like think about these things versus just
Yeah.
kind of jump into, right? Right. Like the number one thing that I see most people make this mistake, most of our clients also make is like, for example, if they're like an accountant, they're like, oh, let me go into the e-commerce business. Well, it's like, hold up. You have no idea about the e-commerce business, right? Yeah, some people win with it, but you don't really truly understand it in and out. So why put yourself in a position where you're kind of like setting yourself up for failure? Right? Instead, you want to be able to leverage not only the passion that you have, but the mission, vision, and the current skill sets that you currently have in whatever domain that you have. Take that, leverage that, build a very specific offer to a specific type of people that you want to solve it to, and do it the same exact specific way so that you can actually scale your client fulfillment or whatever specific business model that you want to have, right? Again, for us, it was an online service-based business model, specifically a digital marketing agency. So that's kind of like how to think about those things. And then after that, everything else becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, and no question. I like how you're talking about incorporating your current skill set because so many people dive off in all these crazy things that they really don't have any knowledge of, and they don't even have a framework for success, and they're surprised when it doesn't work out for them. And so, for you as a young entrepreneur, what were the opportunities you saw in the digital marketing space, and why is that space in such a unique position to thrive for years, if not decades to come?
Well, number one, name me any other business model that you become profitable from your very first client. There is none. It's a service-based business model, specifically a digital marketing agency. And these are people, the clients that you are potentially able to work with. These are wealthy business owners, typically older people who don't really understand technology. They really don't understand the digital landscape, right? So they still want to grow their business, right? Every single day, there's over 137,000 new businesses that are established, and they have one thing in common, all of them. It's marketing, right? So it's like understanding that everything else just becomes so much easier instead of going into like e-commerce or Turo or crypto or trading, any one of those other business models. Starting off, especially when you're first, you're trying to learn a skill set. Going into this specific space, for us at least, that was the most important thing for us.
Hey, exactly right. So it's a service-based business. You can be profitable, with your first client. And one of the things that I've noticed about it that makes it truly incredible is there's a lot of businesses out there that are opportunistic, and maybe it's e-commerce and investing in real estate and trading and all these different ideas out there. But the issue with a lot of them is like it doesn't recur, right? If you make one sale, you got to go make some more sales to keep on paying the bills. But tell us with a digital marketing agency why that's not true. Why, if you bring in one client, you might have that client for years to come.
That's an amazing point. Now, look, if you have an e-commerce store, right? Say even if you make $100,000 in a month, next month you start off at zero. But with a digital marketing agency, say for example, you make the same $100,000. Next month, you may lose a few clients, right? We live in the real world. But your baseline is going to be about $80,000. Now you add another 100,000, right? And we can, these are just example numbers, right? If you want to make 10K next month, you're starting off at 8K versus with an e-commerce store or any other type of business model, you're starting off at zero every single month. And the beauty about this model is that not only are the current clients going to be able to give you the money consistently, right? They're high-end retainers, but also if you do a really good job for them, they're going to naturally ascend and upgrade to your next level service, right? And once they do that, it doesn't stop there because now you can look into referrals. Indirect referrals, direct referrals. So from one specific client, your LTV, which is your lifetime value, can be so much more higher than, if you were to try to with e-commerce, you have to sell like 4,000 products to make 40 grand, for example, right? With this model, it's one client, right? That can pay you 5K, 10K plus per month, each client, and it's recurring. So now if you can think about it in a way where if you can get one client, you can also get 5, and you can also get 10, and the sky's the limit. This is how, some of our most successful clients have been able to scale to 400K a month, and even have been able to have multiple exits of 7 figures plus and beyond with this exact model.
Incredible. So it's an amazing opportunity because you're creating recurring revenue. Like you said, we live in the real world. We're not going to pretend that every client is going to stick with you forever. But if you do a good job, you can keep a good percentage of them, especially if you're focused on the right niches. And so the riches are in the niches. We've heard that before. I think you were alluding to that a little bit earlier. How do you decide who you want to target as you're getting a digital marketing agency off the ground?
Yeah. So again, I go back to the first point that I made. If someone, for example, is a financial advisor in their previous role, or they're a lawyer in the previous role, well, let's go a little bit deeper, right? If they're a lawyer, for example, and they were in the personal injury space, let's go into that, because not only, people want to get to their first 10K a month, the quickest and fastest way out there. Well, what I tell them is just use your referral base. You already know people. Yeah, and like I said, one client can get you to 10K a month, right? So you probably, if you're a personal injury lawyer, for example, you probably know 10 other personal injury lawyers. And if you don't, you may know 5, but those 5 may know 5 others, which you can do the math for yourself of what, how this opportunity can scale. So you can get to like from 0 to 20, 25K a month with no ad spend, with nothing. It's just a service that you're basically delivering. So really hone into who you are as a person, what you bring to the table, because chances are, if you're watching this, you're unique in your own way, right? And most people, we're not maybe taught to kind of like understand that aspect of ourselves. So really sit down for a few hours. It's one of the highest leverage activities you can do. Understand what your skill sets are, understand what your passion, mission, vision is, and take that. And now that becomes your niche. And sometimes you may even want to sub niche and really go really, really deep. Just like you said, Leo, the riches are in the niches.
So incredible. And everybody, regardless of where you come from some industry where you've got some connections, you've got some expertise, and it makes so much sense, right? If you're starting a new digital marketing agency, where are you going to go try and market to people who you don't know anything about that business, but you come from the law space with personal injury. Perfect. You already know how that works. You already know the pain points, and now you can put together a great offer and really connect with them and create marketing solutions, month after month, year after year. So as somebody who's looking at that, who's a good fit, to look at launching an agency? Who's the right type of person?
Yeah. So if someone is maybe a corporate worker, a 9 to 5 employee, and they want to maybe slowly transition out of that to a full-time role with having a digital marketing agency, that's one type of clients that we work with. Another type of client is someone who maybe had a 9 to 5 as well, but they want a side income. They kind of want like a side hustle, right? And then they want
Gotta have it. You gotta have it to survive in today's world.
Exactly. Yeah. Look at inflation, right? It's just going through the roof. So it's really a combination of like specifically, for us, because we're not like a course or we're not coaches or anything like that, we really build businesses up from scratch. So depending on the type of person that we're dealing with and what their goals are, if they want to make a side income, if they want to make 10, 15, 20, 30K a month, depending on what that is, we basically set up our franchise-like system for them.
Oh, incredible. So it's a franchise system that they can plug into. And somebody who is a good fit is going to be somebody and we've got side hustlers listening to the show right now who are looking for opportunities. A lot of the times I think people talk to them about investing as kind of their side hustle. And that can be very, very, dangerous and speculative. And if you can invest instead into a business that can generate you monthly income, I find that to be a much lower risk. What's your assessment of looking at side hustles opportunities with investments versus a side hustle business?
Yes, very good point. Now, if you have 100,000, 500,000, $1 million plus, it may be smart to maybe just buy a business, right? For example, or just like invest it into stocks or crypto or whatever that is, right? But if you're listening to this, maybe you may have less than 50 grand, for example. Well, then a service-based business is the best way because it has a low startup cost. Literally it sounds cheesy, but all you need is a laptop, a little bit of skills, and, just kind of like, type some words and you're good to go. And for us, for example, it's not even that for our clients. It's literally like we do the work for them because our 8-figure team becomes their team. So that's kind of like the leverage point, that they're able to have.
Let's take a look at that, Zora. Let's look at, okay, I want to go start a digital marketing agency on my own. Almost like you're trying to recreate the wheel and you want to start your own restaurant, Bob's Restaurant, versus I could follow McDonald's, proven franchise, proven system. What is the difference between I'm going to go figure out how to start my own marketing, digital marketing agency and working with launch my agency and your company?
Exactly right. So when we look at the landscape right now, right, there's so many different podcasts, there's so many different blogs, there's so many different YouTube videos, and there's so many different courses, gurus, coaches, programs. What do I pick? Right? If I was to put myself back in my shoes, like, when I was first starting, it's so overwhelming. And you're like, this person's successful, and so is this, but they're telling me the complete opposite things. What do I do? Right? So it's like we think that we have all this information available, but in reality, it's like it does the opposite effect, right? So for us, what we've done here is literally do the 10%. That's going to move the 90% for us and for our clients, right? Very similar, just like the analogy you use. It's like a McDonald's franchise-like system for the online business space, right? McDonald's has the proven, French fry maker. They have the ice cream machine. They have the tiles. They have the color codes. They have the chairs. Every little detail is proven. It's a system, right? So the same thing for us, we're able to leverage that and give our exact system and our team to our clients and basically kind of license it over to them. And what they bring to the table is their past experience, their past skill set, and where they want their company to go. So the clients of ours, they're basically the visionaries. They're the company owner and the company CEO. So they're not here to buy themselves another job, right? Whereas if you take a look at other courses or other people that tell you you have to learn all these skill sets yourself. What we do is we do the work for you. And it's kind of like, a really good analogy is like our clients are like Batman and we are Alfred, right? We're the advisor. The spotlight, though, is on the client and their company.
So true. And it's such a powerful concept. It really is true. If you look at most new businesses, their odds for success and failure, the odds are much higher in the failure column. Unless you are following a proven system, then the odds are much higher in the success column. And that I find is one of the advantages is working within a framework and a system where, I don't have to go figure out all the ins and outs of starting a digital marketing business. When Zarar and his team have already done it, I can just bring my unique expertise in the industry that I'm from. And every industry out there, their biggest concern is how am I going to find more customers and clients? And that's never been more adaptable and it's never changed more quickly, I think, than it does today. So
and it's even recession proof, right? So that's a big thing, right? People are a little concerned, and rightfully so, right? Especially, look at tech companies. I think today Nvidia plummeted. What was it, like 400 something
17%, yeah.
17% just today it dipped.
My cousin's stock just took a hit.
Right? What is going to happen to those jobs, right? Of people who make six figures and multiple six figures, right? It's like those are typically the first ones to kind of get cut, right? And for us, for example, when we saw, we went through COVID times, right? Like 2020, we know the world was in, shambles. We actually grew 4x, right? I'm not sure what your experience is, but we as a company, we blew up.
That was mine as well, yeah.
Right? And in the beginning, honestly, we were a little nervous too. We were like, what's going to happen, right? Do we downsize? I think at the time we only had about 20, 25 employees. And just like everybody else, we were like, what's going to happen, right? And for us, we literally 4x'd everything. And we realized like, okay, when times like this happen, people need other marketers. They need other, digital marketing agencies that are going to help them make more money or at least preserve the money that they currently have. So we, as a digital marketing agency, are actually a lot more in demand during a recession or during tough times than you may think, right? So it's the opposite effect actually, and not the other way.
Incredibly true. So that being the case, how do you stay on top of all of these changing trends, right? You get launched and then how do you guys make sure, oh, dang, Facebook just made a change. TikTok's closing, TikTok's open. Oh, what's going on with TikTok, right? So there's all these different changing pieces. How do you stay on top of that?
So at this point, currently we have about 50, full-time employees. Now with that though, a lot of our employees are very, very high level. They're very, very skilled and they have their own networks of other people. So what we're able to do is with TikTok, with Google, Facebook, all these different big platforms, we actually have reps that are dedicated to our accounts. And we know before even something gets launched, what's going to happen, or we're actually in some of the beta testing programs. So that's the thing, right? Launch My Agency is here to take all the arrows in the back for you, so you don't have to yourself. We got you covered, and just basically just follow the system versus you trying to have to reinvent the wheel, just like you said.
Wow. Just it really is a unique opportunity. And for all my side hustlers out there, as everybody knows, this is not a passive podcast. It's a podcast for action takers. And those who take action are those who win. I was just listening to a podcast of a family, a banking family. For the last, 200 plus years, they have dominated in the country of Sweden. And the guy most responsible for that family's, legacy and wealth that they've created was his ability to take action. So at this point, I think everyone has learned a lot, that you've delivered a lot of value. What's the next step that they can take to look into this opportunity and see if it's a good fit for them?
Yeah, 100%. So like someone watching this who kind of really just wants to have their own online business, specifically the service-based business model, which is in the world, I believe, pound for pound number one business model to kind of get into. Or if you already have a digital marketing agency and you want to take it to the next level, you really want to scale it. The best way from here is go ahead and DM me on my personal Instagram. So that is Zarar Amin, ZARARAMEEN. All right. So that's ZARARAMEEN. Go ahead and DM me the word podcast 2025. We have a little gift for you as well. So, this is something that we do a little special for, for Leo, for you and your listeners here. So we're going to go ahead and be able to send you that. You cannot find it anywhere, by the way. There's no links. Like, it doesn't exist. It's going to be a very special gift only for the listeners of this specific podcaster that we're doing here today. And then from there, we're going to be able to kind of see if we can even help, because truthfully, this is so heavily done for you that it takes a big toll on our team. We literally assign multiple people to be able to establish your business from ground up. So we really want to make sure that we're able to fulfill for the right type of business partners that we're looking for ourselves, right? So just like as much as you would probably be looking into if this is the right fit for you, we are also looking very much so into it. You are the right fit for us, because this is a lifelong partnership, right? We're not here for 2 months, 3 months. Again, this is not a coaching program or none of that stuff. This is a years and years kind of operation here that we want to be able to establish. So that is going to be the best form. Go ahead and DM me the word podcast 2025, and we'll go ahead and send you that information.
Absolutely, everyone. So again, that is Zarar, ZARAR, Amin, AMEEN. Go check that out. He actually has a lot of value and resources right there on his Instagram page. I'm checking it out, as we're doing this podcast here. And so make sure you go ahead and go there, take action, send the message to him. What was the message again, Zarar?
Podcast 2025.
There we go, everybody. So send him that message, hit the follow button, podcast 2025, and then just follow the next steps and go all in. Don't just dabble. Too many people stick their toe in the water. I'm just going to find out a little bit. No, if you're going to go all in, you want to change in 2025, then you got to take some massive action to make that happen. So again,
especially right now with this time is like, we're January is like, this is the time, especially for a digital marketing agency, right? Like, we've literally seen some crazy, crazy results. Again, I'm not here to promise anything, but I've literally seen, like, if you spend $1, some people are getting like $70 back in return. Again, it's not normal, but it's because of this time, New Year's resolutions, the market is just ready. E-commerce is done with their side of things. And now is the time for service-based businesses. So this is literally the best absolute time to kind of get in, get that momentum on your side, so you can really hit that, next level. Whatever it is for you, if you want to quit your job, if you want to keep it, want to have that side hustle, whatever it is for you, this is the time.
Amen. Well, everybody, take action. Make it happen. Zarar, thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you very much.